Good morning. I started the stream and then I walked out of the room and I was going to start it again. It's Monday, January 17th. I had to double check. I was going to say 16th, but it's the 17th. 2022. I'm going to mess that up one of these days, but for today I got it right. January 17th, 2022. My name is Terry Morgan, and we are here to practice basic sets. I have talked about this a couple of times in the context of practicing Tai Chi. We start out with certain things, we pay attention to certain things, and then we develop our skills to be able to do some of the movements. Talked about that in the context of Wudang's 3 basic methods, the preparation exercises they did for Yang style Tai Chi, which is exactly what we're going to cover this morning. These preparation exercises, these help to develop body flexibility, they help to develop the sense of timing that we use in our stepping methods, and they help to develop inner workmanship, that internal energy, the chi. Let's get started. Coffee. Coffee is important. Okay. So, just because on account of, this is my first session of this new series, and you'll notice, if you've been following me, you'll notice there's a couple little changes that I made to this room. I changed the bookcase around a little bit. I added a couple of my trophies. Did. And I put up some curtains. My goal for the curtains is not so much to make this look more like a living room. It's not, it's a garage. But to deal with the reflection, because at a certain time in the morning the sun comes through that shade, and I'm hopeful that just having the corners blocked off is going to take care of most of that glare. If it doesn't, I'll close them and that will take care of it. All right, so introduction to the new studio, there it was. As we get started, and you see me do this frequently, and I'm going to talk about it. Basic standing method. What? And stand up, yeah, all right, this, feet about shoulder width apart, all this that we start with, this is fundamental to any practice. If you're not placed well over your feet, right? If you're not well grounded, nothing you do will be well grounded. How do we start that? Some of that internal work, the stuff that we don't see, that's not visible. Place feet on the floor. You should be doing this with me. And we're going to stand here for 30 seconds. And it's harder than it sounds. Alright? So, feet about shoulder width apart. Place the foot flat on the floor. Pull up through the arch. Rip with the toes just a little bit. That will bring the arch up. Drop the heel. Center your weight over your whole foot, slightly to the back, slightly over the heel, not too much. Okay? You don't want to shift all the way back on your heels, but toward the back of the heel, toward the heel. And sink. This idea of sink into the ground. This, if I was in sand, I'd like to see my feet start to sink into the sand. Just, wiggle your feet a little bit, watch them sink into that kind of idea. except you don't need to wiggle your feet. Just open it and plant it. The Yunchuan at the ball of the foot, this location here in the foot. Okay, so here's your toes, just behind the metatarsal arch, right here. Similar to where the Laogong is in the palm. This is a Yunchuan in the foot. That should be more like a suction cup. Just stick it to the ground and pull up, and it's not going anywhere. It doesn't move. Okay? It's stuck there. That draws up the energy to bring it up through the back of the leg, up around the back, and return back down to the Yunchuan. This cycle is the large heavenly circle. Pay attention to this cycle, this large heavenly circle. Right now, I'm going to count to 30. Your knees should be slightly bent, not way bent, just slightly bent, not stiff. Hands at your sides, and all you're going to do is stand there. What you're looking for is your own balance. You want to find that point as you shift your weight forward, you shift your weight back, you shift to side, you shift to the other side. You want to find that point that your weight is supported almost effortlessly. Almost effortlessly. You'll notice the effort. Almost effortlessly centered over both feet. Centered over both feet. Ready? Just stand there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no moving, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Relax. Alright, now, this is a little bit easier for me than maybe some of you, because I got to count while I was standing there. The goal that's it. Stand there. Don't move. Don't do anything, just breathe. This exercise, I'm going to sip coffee again. This exercise teaches us where our center actually is. I talk about that a lot. This exercise teaches us where that center is. Why do we care? Because if you don't know where your center is, you can't use it. This is your body weight center. Okay? There's a balance point, just like a teeter-totter, where as you support your weight through the body, just standing there, you will find that point at which it takes almost no effort to remain standing. The muscles in your legs are doing minimal work. The muscles in your back are doing minimal work. The muscles in your abs are doing minimal work. Pretty much every part of your body is doing the least amount of work possible. That's your balance point. That's what you want to find. That's what this standing practice helps us find. Alright, now, we have to start getting a little flexible too. With Tai Chi, we need to be flexible so that we can move as we choose. So, when I very first started, we have this basic stretch that we're going to do. It follows the large heavenly circle. So, from the Yung Chuan all the way up the back, around, down the front, and back to the Yung Chuan. Big circle, we're going to circle outward, and we're going to do this 6 times. Now, in most of my classes, I start with this exercise. It's one of the best exercises that I've ever learned to warm up everything all at once, all together. As a practice set, I learned this as a Qigong practice, together with the rest of the sets that we're going to do this morning. And we do them 6 times, not 3. Okay, so 6 times we're going to do outward stretch. Feet about shoulder width apart, stand straight, bend the knees, open the arms, little fingers, shoulders down and relax, drop the head, bring it back up. Relax the neck spine, hands circle to the front, back around to both sides, come together in the center, up along the center line. As you pull up through the back, reach out, pull up through the abs, bend the knees, extend outward. And as you roll up, start with the tailbone, drop the tailbone, build on top of each vertebra so that you develop flexibility and the ability to articulate through all of the vertebrae. My cat would like to go out. Move slowly. We want to keep the same speed. Focus the breath. Pay attention to keeping the movement round and supple, continuous, and extended. Don't overreach, don't underreach. So the arms should be extended. As we reach out, the waist needs to extend. We're going to do 3 more. Bend the knees. Open the hips. And reach out. Follow the circular pattern. Don't try to just bend over. I'll talk about that in just a minute. 1 more. And stretch all the way up. Elbows drop down. Wrists, fingertips, hands return to your sides. Okay, this idea that as we go over, we want to keep this sense of round. Big circle here. This is a big circle. All right? It's not bend over here, right? I want that stretch out and over to extend. All of this pulls up and in as I go over, right? So if you've got a little extra here and you'd like to compress it a little bit, this is a great exercise for that. Way better than sit-ups. Trust me. Okay. So as we go through this set, a couple of things to pay attention to, as well as keeping this pulled up, this extension. As we reach out over the legs, don't stick the butt out like this, right? Bend the knees and reach out over so that this doesn't really go back. It stays where it is. This moves. This part moves, right? The second set that we do with this series is inward. Okay? So we've just done outward, and now we're going to turn back and we're going to go inward. All right? And I'm going to go ahead and face you to do this. We've got left side and right side, and I will probably turn around to do that. All right, so we have feet about shoulder width apart, bend the knees. Same as what we just did. And when I was learning this series, and I'm going to do this tomorrow, this series was taught as a continuous set, not with the break that I've just given. All right, so hand circle to the front, back around both sides, up along center line, stretch up, and now we're going to circle inward, elbows drop down, wrists, fingertips, follow your fingertips down, roll down through the spine one vertebra at a time, just like you rolled up, roll down. Open the hip, bend the knees, reach out, arch the back as you come up. Keep the knees bent. Use the legs to bring your weight up. Don't use your back. Your back's busy doing other things. Use your legs. Stretch out, reach out, stretch to the front. Keep going. As you roll down, keep the spine as supple and as articulated as you can. That's the goal for this exercise, is to help develop that articulation. Two more. And one more time. Elbows drop down, wrists, fingertips stay upright, hands return to your sides. All right, the idea behind both of these sets, not only to develop the breathing, nice, full, relaxed, even. From Yang style Tai Chi, we want nice, full, relaxed, even breathing, right? Okay, Yang style Tai Chi, that's a characteristic. We want that. For any Tai Chi system, there is always an element of this continuous, relaxed breathing connected with the movement principle. All right, so as we practice these sets, we get the opportunity to use something simple to develop that skill. And we can apply that skill a little bit later. This articulation through the spine. Each vertebra in the spine has an ability to move all by itself. We don't normally do that. We want to be able to do that in Tai Chi because it gives us that flexibility to do certain movements and to bring our energy, our internal energy, Jing, into the movement so that we can do what in Tai Chi is called Fa Jing, expressing the energy, right? I'm going to send out my energy. It won't travel through a stiff body. It's the kink in the hose. If there's a kink in the hose, the water's not going through. Very similar to the human body. If there's a bunch of kinks in the body, then the energy's not going to get through. This exercise helps to develop that flexibility through the spine, as well as develop some of the strength through the waist. Now, we're going to do this again. We're going to do another series. This set goes side to side. So we're going to left side, right side. I'm going to show you first and then I'm going to turn around. Starts out the same, and again, when I was learning this, we would do this as a continuous series. And you'll see it tomorrow as a continuous series. Okay? Hand circle to the front, back around to both sides. I'll talk about that in a second. Up along the center line. And I'm going to turn. Come around. And come up on the right. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do 3 and 3. As we turn, turning the waist matters. And as I'm coming through here, this is turning this way, and it's turning this way, right? So I've got a lot of work through the waist in just this one move. Pay attention more to the waist and how the waist moves than the idea that you're going to go all the way down and scrape the floor or not, right? That bend is through the hips, not through the waist. So open the hip, keep the knee bent, okay, no stiff legs. We don't ever do stiff legs. We don't. It's not going to happen. Okay? Keep the knee bent just a little bit. Keep the waist open and flexible as we turn. Okay, now I'm going to turn around for this one, left side, right side. So we're going to go same direction at the same time. Feet about shoulder width apart. Hand circle to the front, back around to both sides. Up along the center line. And we're going to turn to the left first. Both hands up, turn. Follow the space between your hands. The arms move, waist moves, everything's moving. Keep going. Do it again. Arms are moving, remember that. Legs are moving, waist is moving, everything turns. Turn the waist, turn the hip, turn the waist, turn the hip. Come on up. Again. One more time. And that's an extra one. Be all right. Circle. Come on up. Come back to center. Turn around, go the other way. To the right side. Remember to keep the knees bent just a little bit. Don't lock the knee. Use the waist. Keep the shoulders down. Reach out over the leg. Turn. And come on up. Center. Elbows drop down. Wrists, fingertips, hands return to your sides. Alright. With this series and with the next one, which repeats what we just did, but in a little bit different way, these stretches work the back of the leg, the entire back, the waist, the shoulders, the arms, ankles, feet. The whole body gets included. This idea when I was talking about here as we're moving, and I'll show this. I'm only moving my arms. Right? This is the movement that my arms are doing. What happens sometimes is that the fact that everything is moving is not as readily apparent because everything is moving. It seems like I just stuck my hands here and turned my body, right? No. My hands, my arms, everything is moving. It's that the movement is relative to everything else, and that can make it seem like this is not moving, but this is. Everything moves. Alright? This set combines what we did at the beginning. We did an outward circle and we did an inward circle. And now we're going to do outward and inward as one. So I'm going to wait, hang on a second. Outward. Right? And inward. And we're going to count that as one. We're going to do 3 of those. Feet about shoulder width apart. Wiggle the toes. Raise the heels, drop them, bend the knees. Open the waist. Wiggle the fingers. Relax the shoulders. Hands circle the front. Back around both sides. Up along the center line. Stretch out. Roll up through the spine. Same as the very first, right? And now continuous, we're going to circle inside. Follow the fingertips down. Reach out. Follow the space between your hands. Hands return to your sides. And we're going to do it again. And come on up. Outward circle. Roll up. Inward circle. Relax the breath. Hands return to your sides. One more time. Keep going. Up. Stretch out. Reach all the way up. Elbows drop down, inward circle. Fingertips, follow your hands down. Reach out. And come on to center. Hands return to your sides. Alright, we have two more that are just based on standing here. Alright? And then we have some walking sets and we have some leg sets that we're going to work on. So, this fundamentals. I'm going to get a sip of coffee. I'm going to talk about this before we do this next two. Alright. Fundamentals matter. They matter. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. Kung Fu means hard work. Kung Fu means workmanship. Nagel, internal work, internal workmanship. The only way to do it is to actually do it. The only way you get that is to do it. Alright, so these fundamentals give us the foundation to build on for everything else. Just this basic standing practice. I gave it at the very beginning of class. Just stand here. Feet, grip the ground, find your center, stand there, don't move. No shifting side to side, no thinking about other things, no, just stand there. Being able to do that gives you the foundation to do everything else, to do all of the other movements. That being able to find the stillness within, that's a big part of what we're looking for. And that's a big part of what we use. We actively use that in our Tai Chi practice. Okay? Alright, two more basic sets. And then we're going to start the walking sets. So, again, we're here, feet about shoulder width apart, the same as where we were. Maybe a little bit wider. A little bit wider is good. Alright, we have now the second to last of these stretches. Same open, the same opening, same circle, and I'm going to open to both sides. And sink. And I'm only going halfway down right now. I'm going to go all the way down in a minute. And we come back up. Alright? As the hands separate and start down, so does the body. Sink. However far you're going to go, that's where you want to be when your hands close. And start back up. Okay? So you think about an elevator, just going, you're going to go up and down, right? However far you go down, that's where you want to be when your hands get to this position to start back up. We do this set 6 times. Pay attention to keeping the hip open. And I'll talk about this a little bit as we go through. Pay attention, keeping the hip open, keeping the waist pulled up. This pulls up, right? And use the leg, right? That's especially the back of the leg, right here. All right, hand circle to the front, back around to both sides, up along the center line, and separate, sink. Remember, wherever your hands are going, that's where you want to be when you start back up. Okay? Gotta reverse that. So wherever your legs are going, however much you're going to bend, coordinate that with your hands. so that as you get to the bottom of wherever you're going, your hands go with. All right. Open. Use the back of the leg. And don't try to sit in a chair. There's no chair back there. There's not. Bend at the hip. Pull up through the waist. Hold the leg. Push. Push. 2 more. Push into the heel. Push. All right, and 1 more. Hold the waist. Try not to lean. Pull up. And that was the last one. Hands return to your sides. All right, I'm going to do this to the side 1 time so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And as I come up, pay attention to keeping the back as straight as possible. Try not to lean forward. Use the legs to come up. All right, now, a couple of things with that. My butt's out a little bit further than it should be. Oh well. It'll get better. I couldn't do that 3 months ago. I'm serious. I could not do that 3 months ago. And that's something that I'm going to call out right now in all of our practice. And so I'm going to give my legs a minute to recover from what I just did to them. All right? Now we're going to do some walking sets. Okay? So all of our practice builds on whatever we did before. All of it. You can't know something and be able to do it. Right? Physical effort, sports, dance, any of the things that we're doing, any of the martial arts things that we're doing, you don't get up and all of a sudden you're able to do it because you understand what this is. You don't. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Practice. You develop the body skills, you develop the muscles, and then you can do some of the other things, right? So for this set that I just did, a year ago, my knees were not strong enough to support my weight through this exercise. Wasn't going to happen. I had let go some of the work that I had previously done so that my body work, torso, was not what it used to be either. I couldn't go all the way up and down. I couldn't do it. Little by little, that little bit every day, little bit every day, that doesn't have to be excessive. You don't have to hurt yourself every day. You just a little bit every day builds that capability. It develops that strength. So maybe you can't do this particular set, or maybe another set, or maybe something you can't do today. Practice it. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And one of the fun things to do is to be able to look back and say, 3 months ago I could not do that, but today I can. Now, I have some advantage in this in that I have done it before and I know how to do it, and recovering something that you used to be able to do is not the same as learning it new. It's not. Okay? Your muscles remember things that you might not. They do. They do. Alright? So we want to develop that. That's part of practice, is developing that muscle memory so that we know what we did. We know how it felt. And if we decide, you know, I'm not going to practice that for a day or two, or a month or two, or a week or two, or a year or two, and now I want to come back to it and I want to recover it, I can't. Alright? So, excuse me. What do I have to have? Because I'm going to beat up on this for a second. What do I have to have in order to do this set? This one that I just did, right? Feet about shoulder width apart. This one, I'm going to go all the way down. What do I have to have to be able to do that? What do I need to have in place to be able to do that? I need the flexibility through my hip so that my hip will bend. My hip doesn't bend, it ain't going down. It ain't going to happen. I need the strength through my waist and my abs here. Pull up the hip. Hips are here. Ribs are here. Waist is here. Pull this up. Pull it up. Pulls up the hip. As you pull up the hip, it opens the leg. The leg can bend more freely. When the leg can bend more freely, you can go up and down more freely. Alright? We want that for, in particular, snake creeps down in both Yang style and Wudang style. They go all the way down. Alright? Snake creeps along the ground continuously. We need that flexibility. All of the movements that we have that want flexibility through the hip and through the legs so that we can move up and down at will. Not, this is as far as I'm going to get today. At will. I want to do this. This is what I'm going to do. Here it is. Done. At will. We want that at will capability. Foundations. All right. Stepping. Let me sip of coffee and I'm going to check my time here. All right. I'm going to do just a little bit because I've already said I was going to. Okay. We're going to do more of this. I'm going to do basic stepping methods, forward and back, and then we'll stop for today. Tomorrow I'll come back and we'll do the remaining leg sets, and we'll go through a little bit more this idea of why. This is my basic work. This is my why is this foundation? What am I doing with this foundation work? Okay? So the short answer: simple movements to develop the skill to move. Simple movements to develop your skill to move. And coordinated with the breath and coordinated, long list, okay? Tai Chi Stepping Methods. And just watch for a second. This was a set that I learned from my very first Tai Chi classes with Huang Weilun as part of our foundation practice. We would work through a series of steps as well as these stretches at the beginning of class. Now, Tai Chi stepping. You would just pay attention to the feet for a second. Shift to the left, turn the right toes to 45, bring the left foot through, place the heel, and transfer the weight. Where do I put my foot? How do I transfer the weight? What am I doing here? What? As I shift my weight, right? Take my weight onto, right now, my left leg. Open the right toes to 45. For the most part, in Tai Chi, we work the 45 and the straight line. So back foot's at 45, front foot's straight. We don't usually have both feet going in the same direction, right? Back foot 45, front foot straight. Change the other side, right? This foot turns out, this foot straight. This stepping method goes forward and back. Shift, change the weight, step through. As we step through, okay, and I'm going to do this to the side, this is not shift, turn, put the foot. No. Shift, turn, transfer the weight. All the weight comes over to this leg. Pick up the foot. Pick it up, just hold it there. Just hold it up in the air. Pick the foot up, hold it up in the air. Yeah, oh, where's your weight? Where's your center? Where's your center? One foot. We did it on 2 feet. Now we got 1 foot. Where's your center? Find the center. Shift. Find your center. Bring the foot through. Bring the foot through. This. Bring the knee. Bring the foot. Flex the foot. Sink and place the heel. Put it down gently. Very gently. As if you were walking on rice paper. Rice paper. It tears really easily. It does. Right? So, test of skill. Put some rice paper down and practice. When you don't tear the paper, your stepping method is good. It's difficult. Okay? It's difficult. This idea, though, that we have the ability to transfer the weight. I'm taking my right leg, right? And I can pick this up and I can do something with it, right? What am I going to do with it? I might, right now, I'm just going to step. I could kick to the back, I could kick to the side, I could kick to the front, I could slap to the front, I could do a couple different things. If I'm in balance, if I have my center, as I'm standing there, what we want to pay attention to with the stepping method, though, right now, okay, so we do kicks in a minute, kicks, get in here, right? As we transfer through, place the foot. Don't drop it, place it. That requires that you suspend through the supporting leg and through the abs on your working leg, so that this controls the foot. Yeah, it does. This controls the foot down here. It does. Okay? So, pick it up, place it nicely, push through the back leg. Push into the heel and the back leg, and push the weight through, as if you're transferring the weight through an hourglass. That's sand through an hourglass. Just transfer the weight, and then we're going to keep going. Okay? So, shift, transfer the weight, place the foot, push through. Use that back leg to push through. Push into the front leg. Back leg pushes front leg pushes back. I'm going to talk about that some more again. But for right now, pay attention to your center. Pay attention to how the foot is placed. Pay attention to the transfer of weight through the legs as we move. Hands behind your back, feet about shoulder width apart. Stand straight. Shift the weight to the left, bend the knee, turn the right toes to the 45. Shift the weight onto the right leg. Bring the left through, lace the heel, push. And shift back. Turn to the 45. Transfer the weight. Bring the foot through, lace it, and push. Again, shift back, turn the toes, transfer the weight, bring the leg through, lace the heel, transfer the weight. One more, shift back, turn the toes, find your center, bring the leg through, lace it, and push. Relax. We're going to go backward. Okay? There are a couple of things with this exercise that I have not talked about. We're going to go backward first, and then I'll talk about that. So, where we were, left foot, let's just left foot front, right foot back. Shift back. Turn the left toes in. Bring foot up. Put the toe down. Put the heel. Turn the right toes to the front and shift to the front. Shift back. Turn the toes. Shift. Put the foot down. Shift back. Turn the toes. And again, turn. Bring the foot up. Put it down. Turn front. And shift. One more time. Turn the front toes. Bring the foot through. Lace the toes. Shift. And center. All right. Relax. I did not talk about this before we did it, so I'm going to talk about it now. As we go backward, we're looking for the space with our toe. As we go forward, we're looking for the heel. Where do I put my heel? As I go backward, where do I put my toe? Because that's what comes down first when we're going backward, right? As you put your foot down. Right? So I'm here, and I'm going backward. Where do I put my toe? Out over here, back over here. Where do I put my toe? So that I end up in a correct Tai Chi stance. Correct Tai Chi stance. Front foot straight, back foot 45, about one of your fists, not my fist, one of your fists, in between heels when you pull your foot back. So my front foot is here, and I pull it straight back. I've got about one of my fists in between my two heels. Right? Right there. Ding, ding, ding. That's what you want. That corresponds to your hip. It does. If you take a skeleton and you hang it up by the shoulders and you watch the legs drop out, the space in the hip, here's the legs, here's the hip. This space right here in the hip is what we're looking for between the two heels. So your fist, not mine, your fist, it's your body, right? So somebody who's smaller than I am is going to have a smaller step. Somebody who's bigger than I am is going to have a bigger step. Somebody's got longer legs is going to have a different step than somebody who's got shorter legs, right? So you measure according to your own body so that your own body is in harmony with the movement that you're doing. As as we step back, we go backward. This is not going to give me a correct position, right? Neither is this. This one I can work from, but it's too wide. So I need to be right about here, so that as I turn my toe, I end up more or less correct. Finding that position. How do we find that position? It's your leg. Your leg will tell you. If you listen to your leg, it'll tell you. It's straight back. Here's my leg. Go straight back. Foot's on a 45. Leg goes straight back. My leg didn't. Right? It doesn't go out to the side here. It doesn't go behind here. It goes straight back. Once you have that, movement, once you can consistently put your leg in the correct place, now we start to work on some other things. I said I'm not going to do all the leg sets today, and we're not. I'm just going to talk about these two that we just did, and I'm going to preview what the rest of it looks like. All right, so this shift, 45, bring the leg through, transfer the weight. That's on a figure 8. It's not straight. Shift. Now I'm going to exaggerate this. I'm going to exaggerate this turn. Pay attention to my legs and my knees. That's exaggerated. Okay? Don't do that. It's exaggerated. The shift here has a circle. This one has a circle. And depending on which direction I'm going, okay, outward circle, inward circle, I'm going backward, outward circle, I'm going forward. Most of the time. I can do an inward sweep, but most of the time I'm going forward to the outside. Inside, I'm going to go back. Alright, this idea, this circle, 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 is what we do in Tai Chi. We move in a circle along a straight line. More or less straight. Okay? So, as we're learning these fundamentals, as we're learning these basics, we're also gaining more advanced, the ability to move into more advanced practice. The idea that we're all of a sudden going to be here and able to do that immediately after one lesson? No. Foundation practice first. Build up that skill so that as you step through, I don't have to think about where I'm putting my foot. I know where my foot goes. I'm paying attention to the energy that I'm using, the force that I want to extend, and how much of the dynamic of this particular series of movements am I going to use for this particular instance? A little bit? A little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit more. And then there's more. We have multiple opportunities for these kinds of practices if we know how to do it, if we've developed the foundations that give us the ability to do that. The last set that I did just now, it's all waist. It's all through the lower Tantian and moving the waist. It's all a connection between what I want to do, my idea, what's in my mind, my intent, how I intend to do it, and my body's ability to actually do what I said, hey, do this, do this, no, yes, do this. All right, this conversation that we have with ourselves. I want to do this, my body says no. I'm not doing that today, not happening. How do we develop that skill? Foundations. The more you practice foundation sets, the easier the more advanced work is. It's, again, it's not magic, it's hard work. It's going for it. I'm going to stop here for today. We have, in addition to this forward and backward walking, we have some side walking that we do, right? And preferably don't step on your pant leg while you're doing it, right? To bring the leg up and develop the hip. We also have, there's always more. Okay, so we also have basic kicks, front snap kick, front heel kick, side snap, okay, roundhouse, come on out, right? Sweeps, okay? There's several more things that go with our basic sets, and a lot of this is covered in our Tai Chi forms, but in a little bit different way. So as I step through in Wudang style Tai Chi for dragon and tiger joined together, hamstring loop, right? This center over one leg, out with the heel, step through. We're using that. We're actually going to use that. So as we practice these fundamentals, and I've got a couple more series on fundamentals besides what we're covering right now. These fundamentals give us the opportunity to use a simpler movement in a very simple context to develop skills that we're going to use later. You think of first grade penmanship tablet. I don't know if they still have them now, but when I was in school, we had penmanship tablets. 2 big lines, a dotted line. You had to make sure your letters all matched up with the lines. Okay? That practice was so that as we started writing little stories or writing our assignments, whatever that was, we'd be able to make our writing legible. Now, not everybody did that, but you know, that was the goal. So you'd have legible writing. That foundation, that's exactly my point. 26 letters in the alphabet for English, right? We're going to learn how to write those letters. These movements, these basics, are for a large part of the martial arts, the fundamental alphabet. I did not talk about it. A bunch of stuff I didn't talk about today. Hand methods, basic stances, horse stance, right? Empty stance, level stance. I didn't talk about any of these today. I will get to it. I will. Today we focused on the what I believe, what I'm going to call the core of our practice, and that is finding that stillness, finding the center, and finding that stillness within, so we can start to do something that maybe we haven't done before. I will be back tomorrow. We're going to review this new series, right? So, today we have the detail and the explanation. Tomorrow I'm going to spend a lot more time on practicing what we just did. So, beginning of class, we're just going to practice. Not a lot of chatter, just gonna practice. And then I'll go back into this notation, I guess is a good way to say it, for the additional leg sets that we're gonna talk about. And again, this is all from what I started with when I started learning Yang style Tai Chi from Huang Weilun. Next week, I got a couple more. All right, next week I'm going to talk about some of the work some of the basics and the fundamentals that came from Liu Yuzheng, who taught me Wudang style Tai Chi, as well as a few other things. All right, and then I'm also going to cover some of the things that I learned from dance, because those inform quite a bit of what we're doing in our practice. Classical ballet is a formal movement system, just the same as Tai Chi and all of the martial arts are formal movement systems. You learn how to do certain things with your body. Once you learn how to do those things, you can apply that knowledge to other things. Right? So, just because I'm going to give an example here. Nice, easy first position, plie. Bend the knees. Keep the heels down. Nice and easy. Not stressful at all. Just nice and easy first position. Keep the heels down. Push down through the heel. One more time. First position. Bend down. Bend the knees. Push down through the heel. Now push up and down. This plie releve gives us jumps. Develops the strength in the foot and the leg to do jumps. Does. Now, there's other ways to develop it, but this is the best one that I've ever found. All right? As we we got jumps in Wudang Tai Chi, and Wudang Tai Chi sword, a little bit. Dragon sword has some jumps. It does. It does. So so does Xing Yin. Bagua not so much. Okay, a little bit in Tai Chi, but right? So as we develop these skills, paying attention to what the body can do, paying attention to how we can develop our body so that we can do more, right? Today I can't do this. Tomorrow maybe I can, right? 3 months ago I couldn't do the full set all the way to the floor. Couldn't do that 3 months ago. Couldn't do it. My hips were stuck and my knees were causing me a problem. I did it today. 3 months ago, right? Paying attention to that development is what we want. The repetition, every day I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something every day, gives us that development. It's the only way. It's the only way. It doesn't have to be every day, but that regular practice is how we develop our skill. I'm hopeful that this was informative and that you enjoyed this class and that you'll be back for part 2 tomorrow and part 3 on Wednesday. New series right now and a new format. So today, lots of explanation, practice, a little more explanation, a little more practice. Let's understand what we're doing. Tomorrow, practice, not so much explanation. Wednesday, I'm going to come back to this little bit more explanation, add in some additional options, if you will. Same as for Tai Chi stepping. We step forward, we shift the weight. We actually want to do that on a figure 8, not on a straight line. So once you got the straight line, I'm going to add in that figure 8. Being able to understand the fundamentals of the movement, being able to do the movement at a basic level. It doesn't have to be advanced level just yet. Just being able to do it at a basic level. And then understanding a little bit more about what we're doing. That's my goal for this series. That's what I'm hopefully going to bring out in this new format that we've got. And I'm going to have to look at how do I adjust the lighting so that that's better. So that I'm not standing in the shadow for half the class. Okay? I got some things sorted out. There's always something more to do. I am very excited about this whole new series and what I hope to bring out over the next several classes. I hope you'll be here to join me tomorrow. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it.